All right. Well, I've been trying to decide what I wanted to do for my first review, and I wanted to do something that I was really familiar with and something that I, already know a fair bit about, and something that was relevant to the time, around. Anyway, so right now it is August 15th, I believe. So August 18th will be in just a few days. So I figured what better time or what better movie to talk about than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I'd like to cover all the movies. I don't know if I will or not. I haven't really decided yet. I just know I wanted to do definitely the first one by itself because I have the most to say about it, really and truly, and it's the one that I really like the most. Yeah, so I have, this is my Blu-ray copy of it. I don't know who made this. Dark Sky Films, of course. It's the same people who made this one right here, this steelbook. But yeah, it's a steelbook. It's just one disc. That's the little cardboard artwork. There's nothing really inside of it. But it's really cool. I got it really cheap, a few years ago. And then I got this. I've had this for a long time. I mean, it's all rusty on the side and everything else. I've watched this many times. But this is also Dark Sky Films steelbook. It's actually, I like this one a little bit better just because, it's actually got a little bit of artwork in the back and then underneath the disc. But this DVD has really good special features on it. It's got a really good documentary on it, one in particular, but it's got a few documentaries on it. And then I also have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Special Edition, which this is the first copy of it that I really got. I've had this one for a long time, and this one's not bad. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not the best. I won't lie to you, it looks great on Blu-ray. I mean, it looks amazing. It looks good on this DVD too. On this Dark Sky Films one, it looks just fine on both of them. And anyway, so I just figured I'd get a little history with it. So, like, I'm from Texas. I've always lived here. So, ever since I've heard about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it really kind of fascinated me, for a long time. Especially because when I was younger, that was about the time the remake was coming out. And that had the whole world basically, like, thinking that it was real, you know what I mean? And, like, everybody was tripping out and tripping balls and, like, oh, that was a true story, that really happened. And it's like, no, that didn't actually happen. That didn't happen at all. What are you doing, little man? Get down from there. But anyway, it didn't actually happen, but it just really fascinated me. And I actually saw the remake, I remember when I was really young, probably way too young to have seen it. But I remember seeing that, and I didn't, one of my parents was like, hey, there's an original, and I didn't know that. I didn't know what a remake was at the time. And I remember my dad and my mom had showed me the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and 3. We had those. I'd never, I didn't know that there was any more besides that, and except for the first one. And I never got the chance to really see the first one. I didn't know anything about it. My parents didn't really care for that one for some reason. So, I'd never seen it. And I remember at the time my mom worked at Walmart, and they had this DVD copy in there, and I remember I would just go in there and I would just look at it and stare at it, and she wouldn't, she didn't buy me, she wouldn't just buy me anything I wanted, you know what I mean, like, she was good to us, I ain't trying to say anything like that, but it was, it's just like, just because I want something, she wasn't going to get it for me right then and there, so I just remember every time we'd go in there, I would look at it, and then finally one day she was like, do you want me to get that for you, and it's birthday or something like that, and I said hell yeah. So that's I've had this for a long time. It's just one disc, but I've upgraded, so I have several copies of this movie. But I love this movie. It's a really good movie. I watched it recently. I actually watched the first 4. Me and my wife did together. And I plan to watch the remake, and I don't really know if I want to watch the prequels and the sequels, but I guess I have to if I really want to be, legit. But anyway, so, so really and truly, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre has been reviewed to death at this point. So I mean, there's not really much that I can add to it. I really, in any of these reviews, I'm really just kind of want to do more of like just my own personal experience, and I'll talk a little bit about the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it. But it, like I said, it's been reviewed. I can't tell you how many times. Everybody and their grandma has a Texas Chainsaw Massacre review, But anyway, so I mean, I'll just give you the basic rundown of it. So basically, it's a group of kids, of teenagers, and they're going to find their, I think it's their granddad's old house or something like that. It's abandoned, and they're trying to find it, and their car ends up running out of gas, and they stop at a gas station. The gas station guy doesn't have any gas, and so they're like, well, we'll just go to this place, and he says there may be gas, later if you just want to hang around or whatever. So anyway, they end up just kind of going to find the old house anyway, and then they stumble upon the farmhouse where there is a family of demented and sick cannibals inside of there, and they're just slowly killed one by one until we get down to our final girl, Sally, which is Marilyn Burns. And, she's great. All the actors they're great. I'm not going to say that this movie is just perfect or anything like that, but I will say it is definitely not like anything else that you'll ever really see. Like, it has just a really, like, the vibe of this movie is what's going on. You know what I mean? It's a very dirty, nasty, gritty movie. The special effects are amazing. The production was just, unreal. And I mean, again, if you can watch the documentary, it's called The Shocking Truth. That's the documentary. That is what's on this DVD here. That documentary covers it all, and I mean, it's amazing what went into this movie. They dumped literally blood, sweat, and tears into this movie to make it, and they didn't really think anything of it at the time. But now here it is. We're talking about it, all these years later. And it still, in my opinion, still holds up, and it's still scary. I mean, it's never scared me, but definitely anyone who's, I know people who are a little bit sensitive to horror movies and stuff like that, and I'm sure it would still have the same effect. Just because, honestly, it's one of those movies where after you watch it, you just kind of feel dirty. You know what I mean? Like, it's very documentary, real, and I can see why a lot of people thought this was real, because they did, boast that it was based on a true story. This was long before, the Blair Witch Project did its, unique marketing, and that became just a thing, that people were doing. But, back then, people really thought this was, and it has a very documentary feel. Like somebody on a podcast I was watching one time, I don't remember who it was, but they said that it feels like something you'd watch in a science class, like those old VHS tapes that you'd have to watch. Like, that's what it feels, if anybody else is, old enough to remember what I'm talking about with that. But like, it really does feel like something that, like, it's just nasty and it's gritty and it feels very homemade, and and everything in this movie just feels very homemade. And another thing about it, it's kind of I don't want to say it's well, let me just put it like this. There's not really any gore in the movie. I mean, there are death scenes on camera, but it's not like anything over the top. It's mostly, everything is mostly implied, which it all goes back into just how everything is mixed together, how the set's put together, how how Leatherface is designed, how the family works together, how the house is built. The house is almost a character in and of itself. It's like its own entity, which is very interesting. Again, they put so much work into just the set alone, and then going back into the title, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know what I mean? It's just all like, it's a placebo, you know what I mean? It's to make you think that what you've seen is far more disgusting than what you've actually seen. And I just think that's amazing. This movie is it's phenomenal. And again, like I said, I could say it 1,000 times. It still holds up to this day. I don't care what anybody says. It's a great horror movie. It's really fun to watch, especially this time of year during the summer when it's hot. And I am from Texas, so again, it's hot as hell here, and it's sweaty. I'm sitting in the house right now sweating, in the middle of August, so it really kind of gets you in the mood for that kind of movie. You really kind of feel what they're feeling in the movie. Sadly, none of the sequels, in my opinion, and I mean, I think a lot of other people's opinion, have ever topped this movie. You know, the original. None of them have ever done what this movie's done or had the effect that this movie's done. Now, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy them. Like I enjoy all the sequels. You know, well, the original sequels, the ones from the 80s and the one from the 90s, you know, and I even like the remake and the prequel to that remake. I like that, but you know, those newer ones I'm not crazy about. But we'll get there because I really want to talk about them very much. I'd like to cover all of them before August the 18th. You know, I'd like to build up to that, you know, and then, yeah. So anyway, that's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you've never seen it before, I don't know what you're doing with your life. You need to go check it out right now, or at least before the end of summer. Another thing I just want to say, I will probably be trying to do, before at least summertime is over, Friday the 13th. I'm actually watching them as we speak so that I'll be refreshed on them. I just watched these not too long ago, you know, maybe a week ago, so I'm still pretty fresh on these movies. But anyway, I've seen this one 1,000 times, so I mean, I could just literally, you know, it doesn't, anyway, I'm rambling now. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. That's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Have a great afternoon.